Hi folks, welcome back to The Addicted Bookworm, where my addiction is all over the internet. On this channel, I do book hauls, book reviews, both physical and digital media, audiobooks, and so much more. So I'm finally, after long last, I am finally doing a review of this book, Brooms. Okay, so I bought this graphic novel, I think it was 2 years ago. And it sucks because it took me this long to finally finish it. Now, I am going to say about this graphic novel, it does have LGBT characters in it. I believe like two. But we also have Native American representation in the book. If that is what you care about, they have it there. This is during a time of racial prejudice and bigotry and all sorts of bullshit that we should be not doing. So here's the thing about Brooms. Brooms is very different than any other book or graphic novel about the South in, I believe, the 1950s. By the way, that's beautiful. Um, let's see here. Okay. Um, it does not tell you anything about the book. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna Google it because I do that way too much. Um, all right. So there's 32 pages in it. Okay. So it's published. Oh no, it wasn't 2 years ago. I'm sorry. It was published in 2013. Um. All right. Okay. So hold on a second here. Get this. All right. 1930s Mississippi. Okay. Magic is permitted only in certain circumstances and by certain people. Unsanctioned broom racing is banned, but for those who need the money or the thrills, it's there to be found. Alright. So, from the fact is that it's the 1930s. Ouch. And she did a very good job in actually depicting uniforms from the 1930s, which is always good. I like it when authors actually do their research on how police officers dressed in a certain time period. It makes me feel like that she cares about it being attire-wise authentic. So the 1930s only means one thing, that is the Great Depression. Yeah. The Great Depression, where everybody's depressed and nobody thinks there's any hope in the universe. That's my generalization of the Great Depression. Where everybody's depressed and there is no hope for anything. Unless you talk about the guy across the way who's, But, anyways. So it is a queer witch graphic novel. I bought it because the cover was interesting, and I love the idea of women flying on broomsticks, which is always my thing. I like women who fly on broomsticks. I showed a panel to my coworker who happens to be queer, and she laughed. It's an image of the girl. She's hanging by the broom handle, and the mother is like, smell boys, I smell boys. You know how women are, how mothers are, they think they snip the boys, and actually it's not. I just thought the scene was hilarious. Now, for people that don't like queer graphic novels, this book is definitely not for you. But I just like the alternate history, and I'm this kind of this sportsmanship kind of person, and there was a scene where this white dude, he got all mad because he lost to girls. And I'm thinking to myself, are you mad? I think you're mad because you lost to girls. But I also think you're mad because you lost to a black girl. And I'm like, another thing that I liked about this book was the Native American representation. So, for people that don't know, my great-grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee. And I believe that because Grandma, who was born in 1912, said Mama was full-blooded Cherokee. Her ancestors, not even 3 generations behind her, walked the Trail of Tears. So having Native American representation is important to me, as it is important because this is what happened to my ancestors back in the 1800s. They are harassed by white people, by white police officers, because they're Native American. And I remember a story that my grandmother told me a long time ago, and I still remember it today. Also, my mother also mentioned it, so I would always remember it. So she was told it, and then I was told it. That back when my grandmother was much, much, much younger, like in the 20s, early 30s, okay, there was a guy who climbed over the fence. Okay, no idea how old Grandma was. She might have been an early teenager or something like that. And he was there for one reason. Okay, so if you guys are triggered by mentions of attempted rape, then you don't need to watch the video. But my grandmother told Mom, and then also told me, that he came over the fence for one purpose, and that was to rape her. Because back in even as early as like the early 1900s, even in the late, or earliest, let's go back much earlier, like 1800s, late 1800s, white men had as much hatred for Native Americans as for people of color. Even more, because unlike people of color, okay, they sent children of tribal members to reformatory schools, basically to beat the Native American out of them. So you got a girl. I still have no idea how old my grandmother was at the time this happened. But you got a grown-ass white dude, probably in his 40s, maybe older, maybe a little younger, who wants to rape a girl who is half white and half Indian. And I know why. It's to show I'm racially superior to you. And so my mother told me that, and this is part that Grandma did not tell me, but my mother told me that during that time, women and men who were half white and half Indian were considered subspecies, subhuman. I think they were below people of color. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but to have that Native American representation in the book was absolutely wonderful. I loved it. You can also tell from it the bullshit that this Native American family has to go through. They're not living on the reservation. They're living outside of the reservation, but they're still tribal members of whatever tribe they're part of. It really shows how ugly this form of racial discrimination and racial hatred was. Um, she tones it down a lot for the book because she doesn't want to make it graphic. But you can get from the pages of it the feeling of we're here to constantly remind you that you're the other, that you are that despite the fact that we recently made you U.S. citizens, you will never actually belong in America, and it is it is unfortunately a very much part of our history that people that were here before the white man showed up are not considered part of the United States, even though they are definitely part of the history of where America is at. But Brooms was an absolute delight to read. The Kindle Colorsoft made made it beautiful. I love this. Absolutely beautiful. You know, they all come together. Now, it's interesting is like you'll have like an advertisement for a broom making company, which is cool. This is the Olympics. Let me just lower this because this is too bright. Yeah. Right here. Yeah. But what does that say? I can't see it. Yeah, it says here, oh yeah, law, they do a kind of a twist on that. It says here, native racing, lawyer makes history bill to ban magic limitations based on race coming to Supreme Court. Yeah. Um, yeah. All right. So all in all, I enjoyed Brooms a lot, and I definitely gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. Um, and I think the author has done something very different. She's taken a time period where um, where people of color and also Native Americans were treated like garbage, and turned it into a very beautifully written story, and I highly enjoyed it. All right, so that is my review of Brooms. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.